Welcome, everybody. We've just opened the waiting room and folks are getting connected. So we'll start in 30, 40 seconds. All right. Okay, looks like most people are in and connected. I'm sure folks will continue to join us. So welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ann Williams, Organization Development Consultant. It's so nice to see some familiar faces out there. So welcome. This is the first in a series of 4 sessions. These sessions are 15 minutes, which is a really short amount of time. So I'm going to encourage you to take a minute and shut down any other technology that you have up and running. I know it's easy on these Zoom things to cruise through email while you're listening in the background, but I do encourage you to put your phones on silent, shut down email, any other things that might distract you, and try to focus and really be present today. The sessions are recorded and they'll be posted on the website and our website, as well as any other materials that we share or tip sheets or sample agendas, anything that we point to today, it will be posted for you post-session. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and we're really glad you're here. So as you can see from the title, we said managing remotely. It's the new normal. And I don't know about you, but when this started, I had a mentality of, okay, I can do this for 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe then it got 8 weeks, and then it kept going and it kept going. And I think it's obviously the new normal. And I think I've heard people say their companies are planning on working remote through the rest of the year and all of 2021. So who knows how long we're going to be in this, but we wanted to share with you, specifically for my session, I have 4 things that I think will be helpful for you for managing teams remotely. So the first one is setting clear expectations. It sounds basic, but in this time, people are really uncertain. People are scared. There's a lot going on and things are fluctuating and changing. So if you haven't done this already, it's an important time to sit down with each person on your team and talk about what you expect from them. What are the projects that they have? What are the tasks or activities that they have coming up? And clarify when things are due and when you expect to hear from them. Do you expect to hear from them every week? Once every 2 weeks, etc. So the more clear you can make those expectations, the more relieved people will feel. They say, okay, I know what I got to do for this next near future. We recommend also that the timeframes are short. Do short sprints, 1 or 2 weeks, maybe a month maximum. So for the next 30 days, this is what we're going to focus on. There's too much unknown, too much in flux to try to think, at least at the productivity level, not at the strategy level, but maybe at the productivity level. Don't try to think 6 or 8 months out. I think it's too challenging right now. And the last tip, which is a timeless tip, is not to micromanage. It's hard to know what your team members are doing. It's hard to know how productive they're being, how engaged they are, but hovering in this time won't bode you well. It won't help. So set up those clear expectations on end results. What is the product? What is the activity? And then let your folks determine how to do that. We'll talk more about the flexibility, but flexibility in hours and timeframes is really important. So the second tip is kind of a classic change management framework. people need to feel connected in this time and build relationships. So in the change management framework, during big changes like this, it's almost impossible to over communicate. People get mixed messages, people don't hear things the same way and misinterpret. So we are really recommending that you touch base with your teams frequently, at least once a week, to have a team meeting. And we'll talk more about the structure of those meetings in just a minute. Have regular one-on-ones with each person. Those don't have to be every week, but every couple weeks, make sure you're checking in with each person to see how they're doing, if you can. We also recommend any kind of immediate communication vehicles to keep those alive. Our team uses the Microsoft Teams a lot, and it's connected to my phone. So if there's a communication happening, I'll get a text message that tells me that there's something active on Teams. I find that helpful. It's a way to get quick messaging because people are not at their computers all day right now. At least I know I'm not. There's dogs and kids and groceries and meals and all kinds of things happening simultaneously. So trying to find ways you can connect more intermittently, I think, is very helpful. We also encourage you to share everything you know and everything you don't know. I know we're getting a lot of questions about when people are returning to work, about the furloughs, are they being extended, or what's happening organizationally, are students definitely coming back? A lot of those questions you may know, and please share everything you know with your team. And then of course it's fine to say, I just don't know. I don't have an answer to that question. In terms of collaborating, it's helpful if you can find ways to connect your team members. Have them work in pairs or in small group projects so that they have to work together and talk together more outside of that weekly team meeting. Again, it's to build that connection and relationship in this time of potential or real isolation for a lot of folks. And we also recommend that you connect once in a while with your broader team. So we have an organization development team meeting where there's 5 of us, and then we have a talent management meeting where there's 30 some of us. And then every once in a while, we have a whole HR meeting with all 200 of us. And it just helps us connect to the broader purpose, the organizational strategies, and those are helpful. So the third thing about meetings, meetings are difficult on Zoom. They can be challenging. So we really recommend that you have a structure and have an agenda. We have a sample agenda. I don't have time to run through it now, but Kate will send it out afterward, as well as some instructions on a sample agenda. The question about camera on or off is certainly up to you. As the leader, we do encourage you to try to keep your camera on just to build that engagement and connection with your team. But believe me, I recognize there's times and things that happen where you don't want to have your camera on or can't for the whole time. That's completely fine. And it's not essential that you force your team members to have that camera on either. We also recommend in your meetings that you build in some time for traditional team building kinds of activities. Those can be simple icebreakers. They can be a high-low, what went well, what didn't go well this week, one great thing that happened to you over the weekend. They can be both personal and professional. Again, just ways to really connect with your team. And the last one about helping to keep people engaged, rotate up roles. You don't have to run every meeting yourself. Let other folks take a turn at leading the meeting. Maybe somebody's managing the chat function. Maybe somebody else is sharing their screen or doing any kind of taking notes or etc. Alrighty. Then the fourth one is about how. And in this time as a manager, it's so important that you present first as a human being and connect with your team members as a human being. This is a time for lots of empathy, lots of support. With the high anxiety, the high unknowns, we tell folks not to expect as much productivity as in the past. There's just too much happening in the world right now for people in these circumstances to be as productive. And we talk about the messiness. When we were doing a dry run, I was up in front practicing, and my husband started power washing the window right in front of where I was sitting, and there's roaring noise came through, you know, so we laugh, I move, it's okay. Those things happen. I mentioned the flexible work time, set up the end result, and then let folks work when they can. If they have children, they may need to work in the evening. And remember, I guess the last thing is that this is not just, oh, I get to work from home. We're working from home in a pandemic. COVID cases are rising across the country. The economy is struggling. I'm sure you have friends and family who may have lost their jobs or on furlough. And we have all these social justice issues and turmoil around us. So be empathetic, engage with your team as humans first. Okay, 15 minutes is short. So that's my spiel. I want to do a couple of logistical things, and then if we have time, we'll answer some questions and see what's going on in the chat. So reminder, there's sessions Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you have to miss, they're running next week, same sessions at 9:30 in the morning. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 9:30 next week. And we're here. If you need help from the OD team, the L&D team, you want us to bring a class to you, you need help with your team, it's struggling, or you want your team to get even better, we're here for you. You find our form on the website. And then the last thing, I'm gonna flip it back in a minute, but we would do ask for your feedback on these sessions. I learned that if you hold your camera up to this code here, the QR code on the right, it'll take you directly, your phone, put your camera up there, it'll take you directly to the site, or there'll be a link for the feedback survey in the chat box. So I'm gonna hold that off so that you're not doing that now. And Kate, do we have anything going on in the chat? Questions?
Yes, there is one or two questions here. First thing that I do want to say is if you do have a request for service, that direct link to our request form is in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you. If there's anything that you or your team needs to help with right now, we are available. The second thing is there was a question regarding, you mentioned Teams, Anne, and having that notification, that text notification. Is there a cost associated with that?
Microsoft Teams? Boy, I don't know the answer.
If there's an unlimited text, it says, are we paying for folks to have unlimited text? So,
on their phones.
Yes, does Teams send you a message? I think that was the question.
Teams does send me a message. I think that's an option. I think I set that up. You don't have to set that up to have notifications come to your phone. So they can just come through the computer.
Okay, I think that was the only question I saw here in the chat. We can hang out for a few minutes though. If there's anything anyone needs, I will be sending out the article as well as our sample agenda for you at the end of today's session. So keep an eye out on your email for that. And if there's anything that you need, again, we are here.
And I'm going to flip over. We'd love to hear your feedback on these really short soundbite sessions and what you need more of. Please let us know how we can help.